Namo Buddhaya. Have you ever asked yourself, why do bad things happen to good people? It's a question that haunts us, especially in moments of pain and loss. Life throws curveballs when we least expect it, leaving us wondering, why me? In this video, we explore Buddhist teachings to unravel this mystery. But more importantly, we'll discover how shifting our mindset can transform our lives for the better. Stay tuned, because this journey might just change the way you see the world and yourself. The nature of life and suffering. The video starts by discussing the inherent unpredictability of life. As taught by the Buddha, life is not under anyone's control. It's real, raw, and often unfair. We don't know what will happen next, whether joy or sorrow awaits us in the coming moments. The Supreme Buddha reminds us that life is not a movie or a dream. It's unpredictable and uncertain. When bad things happen, the mind naturally gravitates toward negativity. We question why, despite being good people, we face difficulties. But life doesn't distinguish between the good and the bad. Karma and life operate on their terms, without regard for our moral standing or social status. Think of life as a book. Just as a book has many chapters, some filled with happiness, others with sorrow, our lives follow the same rhythm. Imagine stopping midway through a story because of a particularly sad chapter. You'd never get to the resolution or the uplifting moments ahead. Life is the same. We can't give up when we face challenges because, just like in a story, every chapter serves a purpose in the grand narrative of our lives. When bad things happen to good people, it's easy to feel as though the universe is targeting us. But here's the truth. Bad things don't happen because we are good or bad. They happen because that's the nature of life. Everyone faces struggles, and it's how we interpret these events that determine whether we grow or crumble under the weight of negativity. The power of perspective. The Buddha teaches that our minds are naturally inclined to focus on the negative aspects of life, but the key to happiness lies in shifting our focus. Instead of dwelling on past miseries or current hardships, we need to bring our attention to the bright side. There is always something positive to hold on to, even in the darkest moments. In this unpredictable life, both good and bad things happen to everyone. But if we constantly expect fairness, we will only exhaust ourselves. Supreme Buddha's teachings emphasize the importance of not expecting life to be fair, because fairness is not a rule that life follows. Focusing on positivity. Amidst struggles, personal input 60%. What if, instead of resisting life's unfairness, we embraced it? We can't change the fact that bad things happen, but we can change our reaction. The key is to balance our perspective. For example, when we're facing loss, we can remind ourselves of what we still have. It might be our health, relationships, or even small, simple joys, like the ability to experience a sunset or enjoy a moment of peace. Consider this. A friend of mine once lost his job, and it felt like the world was collapsing around him. But instead of letting that one chapter define him, he chose to see it as an opportunity. He took up new hobbies, learned new skills, and eventually found a job he loved even more. That shift in perspective, from seeing the situation as a catastrophe to seeing it as a doorway, is what allowed him to thrive. Lessons in growth. The Buddha teaches that life's hardships are not destinations but passages. We must go through tough times in order to grow. If we dwell in these difficulties, treating them as the end point, we will never see the full scope of life. "You grow through what you go through" is a mantra that reflects this wisdom. Life's unfairness can often feel like a personal attack, but the Buddha reminds us that suffering arises from expecting life to meet our personal standards of fairness. If we release that expectation, we free ourselves from much of the pain caused by disappointment. Turning struggles into lessons. It's easy to get stuck in a mindset where every negative event feels like a personal failure or punishment. But here's a radical idea. What if every challenge was an opportunity for personal growth? In the midst of hardship, it's difficult to see the lessons, but once the storm clears, we often realize how much we've grown. Take the example of a plant. It needs the right balance of sunlight and rain to thrive. Too much of either, and it withers. Our lives are similar. We need both joyful moments and challenges to grow fully. Struggles force us to dig deeper into ourselves, discover hidden strengths, and become more resilient. They teach us to appreciate the good times even more. One powerful way to internalize this is by practicing gratitude. Every day, make it a point to list 3 things you're grateful for, even on tough days. This practice rewires your brain to focus on positivity, helping you shift from a mindset of suffering to one of growth and resilience. In the end, the Buddha's teachings provide a roadmap for navigating life's inevitable challenges. By acknowledging that life is unfair and unpredictable, we free ourselves from the burden of unrealistic expectations. Instead of fighting against this truth, we can work with it. Bad things will happen to good people, but it's how we react that shapes our destiny. So, when you find yourself asking, "Why me?" remember this. Life is a series of chapters, both good and bad. You can choose to stop reading when things get tough, or you can continue turning the pages, knowing that every chapter, no matter how painful, brings you closer to understanding the true essence of life. Focus on the lessons, not the pain, and in doing so, you will find growth, peace, and perhaps even happiness. Namo Buddhaya. Are you feeling lonely? That emptiness, that sense that nobody cares? What if I told you that loneliness could actually be your greatest opportunity for personal growth? Today, let's uncover how to turn the pain of loneliness into the peaceful state of solitude, using timeless Buddhist wisdom. Loneliness is a universal experience, and for many of us it comes when we least expect it. Whether it's after a breakup, losing a loved one, or simply when the friends who were once close drift away, suddenly we're left with a void. This void, often filled with sadness or even despair, can feel unbearable. But why do we feel lonely in the first place? The answer lies in how we relate to others. We often tie our happiness to the presence of others, depending on them for joy, support, and validation. When they're gone, we lose the very source of our happiness. We hand over the keys to our emotional well-being, and when people walk away, it feels like we're locked out of our own sense of fulfillment. However, what if I told you that loneliness isn't an enemy? What if it could be a friend, offering you a precious gift, the gift of time to reconnect with yourself? To understand how loneliness can transform into something positive, let's first draw a distinction between 2 states: loneliness and solitude. While loneliness brings with it the longing for someone else to fill our emotional cup, solitude is the art of filling that cup on our own. In Buddhist practice, solitude is cherished as a time for deep reflection and inner growth. Instead of waiting for external sources of happiness, those who practice solitude focus on cultivating happiness from within. The Buddha often spoke about the importance of solitude, particularly for monks on the path to enlightenment. He taught that being alone isn't inherently negative. In fact, solitude can help you discover deeper truths about yourself and the world around you. When you aren't distracted by external relationships or societal pressures, you have the space to explore your mind, meditate, and develop wisdom. Let's explore an example from the life of Buddha himself. Before achieving enlightenment, the Buddha, then known as the Bodhisattva, practiced extreme forms of self-discipline and meditation. For 6 long years, he pursued rigorous physical hardships, believing that these efforts would lead him to enlightenment. During this time, he was accompanied by 5 disciples who admired his dedication. But when the Buddha realized that extreme self-mortification wasn't the path to enlightenment, he decided to nourish his body, breaking his fast and eating food to regain physical strength. His disciples, disillusioned by this change, abandoned him, convinced he had forsaken the path to enlightenment. Alone in the jungle, without the support of his followers, the Buddha could have easily felt lonely, despondent, and lost. But instead, he embraced this solitude. Rather than feeling abandoned, the Buddha saw this period of being alone as an opportunity. With no distractions, he could focus fully on his meditation. It was in this moment of solitude, freed from the expectations of others, that the Buddha found the clarity he needed to attain enlightenment. Most of us aren't striving for enlightenment like the Buddha, but his story offers a powerful lesson. When we are alone, we have a unique opportunity to focus on self-development. Instead of feeling abandoned or helpless, we can turn inward and ask ourselves what we need to grow. When you are lonely, ask yourself, how can I use this time to better myself? Can I develop a new habit? Cultivate a new skill? Meditate? Read books that inspire me? Exercise? In these moments, solitude becomes a gift. It offers you the time and space to reflect on your own life, desires, and goals. This is the heart of Buddhist teachings, learning to find peace and happiness within yourself, regardless of external circumstances. One of the most transformative practices you can engage in during moments of loneliness is meditation. Meditation allows you to go inward, confront your feelings of loneliness, and understand them. Through regular practice, you can develop a sense of peace that isn't dependent on others. In solitude, your mind has the opportunity to quiet down. You're no longer bombarded with distractions, conversations, or the expectations of others. Instead, you can listen to your own inner wisdom. Through meditation, you begin to realize that happiness isn't something you seek from others. It's something you cultivate within yourself. Let me share a personal example. A few years ago, I went through a phase of deep loneliness. After the end of a long relationship, I found myself feeling empty and lost. The house felt too quiet. The friends I once relied on seemed distant. In that silence, the loneliness was overwhelming. But rather than wallow in self-pity, I decided to use that time to focus on myself. I began practicing meditation daily, going on long walks and reflecting on what I wanted from life. In that solitude, I discovered strengths I never knew I had. It was during this time that I made some of the most important decisions of my life. Decisions that wouldn't have been possible if I had remained distracted by social engagements or relationships. Practical steps to turn loneliness into solitude. If you find yourself feeling lonely, Here are some practical steps to transform that feeling into productive solitude. Meditate daily. Start with just 10 minutes a day. Focus on your breath, observe your thoughts, and let them pass without judgment. Engage in self-care. Use this time to nourish your body and mind, whether it's through exercise, healthy eating, or simply taking care of your mental health. Self-care is essential. Create a routine. Establishing a daily routine can give you a sense of purpose. This could include hobbies, creative projects, or personal goals. Reflect on your goals. Use solitude to think deeply about what you want to achieve in life. Write down your goals and create a plan to work toward them. In the end, loneliness doesn't have to be a source of pain. Instead, it can be the very thing that leads you to greater self-awareness, wisdom, and inner peace. By embracing solitude, you gain the freedom to grow into the person you are meant to be, without relying on others to make you happy. Remember, solitude isn't about isolation. It's about reconnecting with yourself, finding joy in your own company, and discovering that everything you need is already within you. So, the next time you feel lonely, remember, this is your opportunity. Use it wisely, embrace it fully, and in doing so, you will transform your life in ways you never thought possible. Lesson to take away. Loneliness may feel like a burden, but it can be transformed into a powerful tool for self-growth. Through solitude, you find your true self and realize that happiness comes from within, not from others. Namo Buddhaya. Anxiety is a constant companion for many of us, creeping in when we least expect it. We all know the feeling. Your mind spirals with thoughts about what might happen, making even the smallest tasks feel impossible. But what if you could stop anxiety in its tracks and find calm in the chaos? In today's video, we're diving deep into practical Buddhist wisdom to help you regain control and peace when anxiety strikes. These methods have personally helped me, and they can be a game changer for you too. Stay tuned, because the journey to inner peace starts here. We've all been there. Your mind starts racing. You're worrying about the future, and suddenly everything feels overwhelming. It's a universal human experience. Anxiety, though painful, is a signal that something within us needs attention. It might be fear about what could happen, uncertainty, or simply being overloaded with tasks. The key lies in how we deal with it, how we manage these anxious thoughts. When we face anxiety, the instinct is often to fight it or ignore it, but this just makes it worse. Imagine trying to push a heavy door open without a handle. It's nearly impossible. Instead, the Buddhist approach encourages us to gently observe our thoughts, acknowledge them, and allow them to flow without clinging. This is the first major lesson we can take from today's video. Step 1. Awareness and acceptance. One of the first things you must do when dealing with anxiety is to become aware of your mental state. Acknowledge that you are anxious and accept it without judgment. Pretending that you aren't feeling anxious or trying to reject the feeling only deepens the discomfort. In Buddhism, acceptance is the first step towards healing. Say to yourself, "My mind is anxious right now, and that's okay." Awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. When you can see what's there, you know how to navigate through it. Often, the mere act of acknowledging anxiety helps diminish its power. The more you resist, the more it grows. Acceptance doesn't mean you give in to anxiety. It means you stop fighting an internal battle that drains your energy. Step 2. Take one step at a time. When your mind is filled with anxious thoughts, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. We often try to juggle multiple tasks at once, but this only fuels the anxiety. Instead, focus on doing one thing at a time. Start by sitting in a quiet place. Write down everything that's worrying you, and separate what you can control from what you can't. Focus on completing just one task, and don't rush. Imagine trying to catch a bunch of oranges with your hands all at once. They'll just fall to the ground. But if you take one orange at a time and place it in a basket, you'll handle them all. Life works in much the same way. Anxiety tricks us into thinking we need to do everything at once, but this just leads to chaos. When you focus on one step at a time, life becomes manageable. Writing things down helps clear the mind, giving you a tangible way to process what's important and what's not. Step 3. Slow down. One of the most powerful techniques to combat anxiety is to slow down. Whether it's physical movement or decision-making, slowing down helps ease the tension in your body and mind. When you slow down your body, your mind will naturally follow. This is why Buddhist masters often recommend deliberate, slow actions when dealing with anxiety. Move mindfully and bring your attention to each action you take. We live in a fast-paced world where being busy is often seen as a badge of honor. But in reality, rushing through life only feeds anxiety. Slowing down may feel counterproductive, but it's one of the most effective ways to regain control. Think of it like driving a car. The faster you go, the harder it is to navigate turns. But if you slow down, you can see everything clearly and react appropriately. Applying this principle to life, whether through mindful eating, walking, or even breathing, helps to ground you in the present moment. Step 4. Complete each action. One crucial aspect of reducing anxiety is to complete the tasks you start. When we leave things unfinished, our minds tend to linger on them, adding to the overall sense of unease. Make it a habit to finish each task before moving on to the next. This gives you a sense of accomplishment and clears mental space for the next challenge. Completing tasks, even small ones, brings a sense of control back into your life. Anxiety often stems from feeling like things are spiraling out of control, but by completing each task, you regain a sense of order. Start with something small. Make your bed, finish an email, or wash the dishes. These little wins build up over time and help to calm the mind. In my own life, I used to get paralyzed by anxiety whenever I had multiple deadlines at work. I would panic, freeze, and then accomplish nothing. It wasn't until I started applying these Buddhist techniques, slowing down, focusing on one task at a time, and completing each action, that I noticed a profound shift. I began to write down what I could and couldn't control, and soon my anxiety lost its grip on me. For instance, I would break down a big project into smaller steps and tackle them one by one. Instead of stressing over the final outcome, I focused on completing each little task. And as I slowed down and embraced mindful actions, I found myself feeling more in control, even when the pressure was on. By applying these simple techniques, awareness, taking things step by step, slowing down and completing each action, you can significantly reduce your anxiety. It's important to remember that the goal is not to eliminate anxiety entirely, but to manage it in a way that allows you to live peacefully. Life will always have moments of stress, uncertainty, and fear. The key is not to let anxiety rule your life. Buddhist practices teach us to observe without attachment, to act without rush, and to complete each task with mindfulness. When you integrate these practices into your daily life, you'll find that anxiety loses its power. It becomes a visitor, not a permanent resident in your mind. Dealing with anxiety is a process. It's about learning to coexist with uncertainty while still maintaining peace. By incorporating these Buddhist-inspired methods into your life, you give yourself the tools to manage anxiety effectively. So the next time you feel anxious, remember, slow down, take one step at a time, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. Anxiety is not the enemy. Our reaction to it is. Find peace within the chaos, and you'll be surprised at how much more manageable life becomes. Have you ever wondered why relationships often become difficult despite the love between two people? What if the key to happiness isn't about changing others, but about understanding the deeper truths of human interaction? In this video, we'll explore 6 secrets based on Buddhist wisdom that can help you build a more peaceful, fulfilling relationship. These principles will give you the tools to make every relationship, whether with your partner, friends, or family, not just functional, but full of love, kindness, and trust. Let's dive into these teachings from the Buddha that can transform how you approach every connection in your life. Maintaining a happy relationship is challenging because of the differences between people. Relationships struggle when we expect others to think, act, or behave the same way as us. The truth is, we are all different, and once we accept this reality, we can develop better understanding and compassion for one another. 1. Practice physical kindness. Buddha teaches that kindness should first be expressed physically. Often, we think grand gestures are needed to show love, but it's the small, everyday acts that build a strong foundation in relationships. Imagine a husband and wife where both share the workload equally, perhaps helping each other with household chores, or simply taking a moment to assist the other without being asked. It's these little acts of bodily kindness that show appreciation and create mutual respect. Physical kindness isn't about how much you can give, but how present you are in supporting your partner's well-being. In my experience, physical gestures of kindness are often underrated. Many of us get caught up in life's busyness and forget that it's not always the grand vacations or expensive gifts that make relationships thrive. It's the day-to-day care we show. Helping a friend move or making your partner's coffee in the morning can communicate love far more than words ever could. One real-life example comes from a couple I know who have been married for 30 years. The husband told me, "It's not the big things that keep us together. It's the fact that she folds my clothes just the way I like them. Small acts of kindness build a sense of security. 2. Practice verbal kindness. Words are incredibly powerful, and Buddha emphasizes the importance of speaking kindly. When we use gentle, caring words, we create an environment of trust and positivity. A single kind word can make someone's day brighter, while a harsh word can leave lasting scars. I've noticed that we often underestimate the impact of our words. One time, I was in a restaurant and overheard a couple at a neighboring table. The woman said something as simple as, "I really appreciate how hard you work for our family." And I could immediately see how her words uplifted her partner. It made me reflect on how much kindness costs. Nothing at all, and yet its effects are priceless. We should remind ourselves to consciously speak kind words, even when it's tempting to snap or criticize. Remember, kind words build and harsh ones destroy. 3. Practice mental kindness. Buddha said that our thoughts lead to our actions. If we want to be kind in action and words, we must start with our minds. By cultivating kind thoughts, we naturally spread that kindness to others in everything we do. In our modern world, where stress is high and social media often highlights negativity, it's crucial to be mindful of our inner dialogue. I once had a friend who struggled with self-doubt and negativity. It wasn't until she started practicing gratitude and thinking positive thoughts that her relationships improved. She became kinder to herself, and that kindness radiated to others. I often practice mindfulness to check my inner thoughts, ensuring I nurture kindness and compassion internally so that my actions and words align. 4. Share without reservation. Sharing is a vital aspect of any relationship. Buddha taught monks to share everything they received with their community, creating unity. In relationships, sharing experiences, joys, and even challenges fosters deeper connections. It's not just about material sharing, but about sharing moments, stories, and dreams. I recall a story about a couple who made it a habit to share the highlights of their day with each other, no matter how small. It brought them closer because they were always involved in each other's lives. Sharing is like weaving a thread of connection that gets stronger with each stitch. When we share, we show our partner or friend that we trust them and value their presence in our life. 5. Be virtuous. Virtue is the foundation of trust in relationships. In Buddhism, following the 5 precepts, non-harming, not stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, honesty, and avoiding intoxication, ensures a life of moral integrity. For relationships, this boils down to being trustworthy, loyal, and honest. Trust is the bedrock of any relationship, whether romantic or platonic. I once knew a couple that struggled with infidelity issues early on in their marriage. After they rebuilt their trust through counseling and a commitment to honesty, their bond became stronger than before. The key takeaway here is that loyalty builds a deep sense of security, which is vital for long-lasting relationships. 6. Share a common goal. Finally, Buddha teaches that a relationship must have a shared purpose. In the case of monks, it's spiritual enlightenment. For couples, friends, or families, this might mean working toward a common goal, whether it's building a home, raising children, or supporting each other's dreams. When both partners work together towards a shared vision, the relationship thrives. Think about couples who run a business together, or families who save for a shared goal, like traveling or building a house. This common purpose keeps everyone focused and moving in the same direction, reducing conflicts. In my own life, I once saw an inspiring example of a couple who started a small bakery together. Their shared goal wasn't just about making a profit, but about spreading love and joy through their food. They poured their hearts into every pastry they made, and that shared vision united them even through the toughest days. All relationships face challenges, but the ones that last are built on mutual respect, kindness, and shared goals. If you integrate these 6 Buddhist principles into your life, you'll see a remarkable shift in your relationships. Remember, it's the daily acts of kindness, trust, and a shared purpose that will help you navigate even the hardest times. As the quote goes, "All relationships go through bad times, but the real ones get through bad times together." By applying these teachings, you will cultivate love, compassion, and understanding, allowing your relationships to flourish. Namo Buddhaya. Imagine waking up every morning with a sense of calm and purpose. What if 3 simple practices could transform your entire day, filling you with energy, clarity, and peace? Today, we're diving into just that. A journey through Buddhist wisdom that offers a practical guide to starting your day on the right foot. These aren't complex rituals. They're simple steps that can shift your mindset, energize your spirit, and help you face life's challenges with a newfound strength. Let's get started with the first transformative practice: gratitude. Gratitude, a small practice with huge rewards. Gratitude is not just a fleeting thought, but a deep practice of appreciating life, no matter how challenging it may be. Most of us have days where we feel down, unappreciated, or even hopeless. But when we take a moment to pause and reflect, we realize that life's experiences, both good and bad, are valuable. Every morning, as soon as you wake up, practice gratitude by reflecting on the gift of life itself. Feel thankful for the opportunity to experience another day, to breathe, to exist. This can be as simple as saying, "I am grateful for this day," or "I am thankful for the lessons life has taught me." But it doesn't stop there. Gratitude should extend to those around you. Consider the people who have entered your life, the kind souls who have uplifted you, and the difficult ones who, although challenging, have helped you grow. Everyone plays a part in your journey, and being grateful for them, no matter who they are, brings a sense of peace and completeness. Personal insight on gratitude. In my own life, I have seen how transformative gratitude can be. There was a time when I focused too much on the negative, what I didn't have, who wronged me, what wasn't going right. It was exhausting and draining. Then a mentor suggested that I start every morning with gratitude. At first, it felt unnatural, but over time, I noticed subtle yet powerful changes. I felt lighter, more capable of handling stress, and even attracted more positivity into my life. This practice of focusing on the good in life gave me the strength to handle the bad with more grace. Mindfulness. Grounding yourself in the present. The second practice is mindfulness. Often, our minds are scattered, thinking about the past or worrying about the future. But mindfulness invites us to return to the present moment. And here's the beautiful part. It doesn't require a formal setting or lengthy meditation. You can practice mindfulness in everyday activities. As you walk, become aware of your steps. Feel the ground beneath your feet. When you eat, focus on the taste and texture of the food. Even while breathing, become aware of the sensation of your breath entering and leaving your body. Mindfulness is about tuning into the present moment and experiencing life as it is happening right now. A real-life example of mindfulness. There's a well-known Zen story about a monk who was asked, "What is Zen?" He replied, "When hungry, eat. When tired, sleep." The simplicity of the answer strikes at the heart of mindfulness, being fully present in whatever you're doing. I once struggled with always planning ahead or revisiting past mistakes, which robbed me of the joy in the present. But after integrating mindfulness into my daily routine, I found a deeper connection to my surroundings and my inner self. Positive self-talk. Your inner voice shapes your reality. Lastly, let's talk about positive self-talk. Many of us have a harsh inner critic, constantly pointing out our flaws or reminding us of our failures. Over time, these negative thoughts shape how we see ourselves. Instead, we need to develop the habit of speaking kindly to ourselves. When we start replacing negative thoughts like, "I'm not good enough," with affirmations like, "I am capable," we slowly reshape our entire mindset. A simple exercise is to take a few moments each day to say something encouraging to yourself. It could be as small as, "I am worthy of love and success," or "I have the power to achieve my goals." This may feel awkward at first, but the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. And soon, you'll notice the shift in your confidence and overall outlook on life. Why positive self-talk matters. A few years ago, I encountered a difficult period when I doubted everything I was doing. It felt like I wasn't making any progress in life. A friend introduced me to the idea of positive self-talk, and although skeptical, I gave it a try. Day by day, I repeated simple affirmations like, "I am strong," and "I can handle this." Slowly but surely, I saw how this daily practice empowered me. My mind became less of an enemy and more of a supportive guide, helping me through tough times. Let's explore specific situations where these three practices, gratitude, mindfulness, and positive self-talk, can bring profound benefits. Morning routine. Start your day by practicing gratitude. As you wake up, reflect on three things you're grateful for. They could be as simple as the sunshine, the comfort of your bed, or the people in your life. Next, as you go about your morning tasks, whether it's brushing your teeth, preparing breakfast, or commuting to work, practice mindfulness. Focus on each task without letting your mind wander. This keeps you grounded and sets a calm tone for the day. Dealing with stress. When stressful situations arise, like a tight deadline at work or an argument with a loved one, use positive self-talk to reassure yourself. Instead of succumbing to negative thoughts, remind yourself of your strengths and that you are capable of handling the challenge. Pair this with mindfulness. Pause, take deep breaths, and center yourself before responding. Ending the day with reflection. At the end of the day, take 5 minutes to reflect on what went well and what you can improve on. Practice gratitude by appreciating the day's small victories, no matter how minor. This reflection not only boosts your mood, but helps you sleep peacefully, knowing you've taken stock of the positives in your life. These three simple yet powerful practices, gratitude, mindfulness, and positive self-talk, can truly change your life. They may seem small, but when practiced consistently, they lead to a more positive, peaceful, and productive day. Starting your morning with gratitude, staying mindful throughout the day, and ending with positive self-talk creates a strong foundation for success. As you move forward, try incorporating these practices into your routine. Even if it's just one at a time, you'll notice the difference it makes in how you approach life. Remember, change doesn't happen overnight, but with persistence, the rewards are profound. By adopting these 3 practices, you'll find yourself more grounded, optimistic, and capable of navigating life's ups and downs. The small steps you take each day to foster gratitude, mindfulness, and positivity will accumulate into a life filled with energy, clarity, and joy. Namo Buddhaya. We live in a world where appearance often dictates how we're perceived. Billions are spent on skincare, cosmetics, and treatments, all in the pursuit of beauty. We scroll through social media, marveling at flawless faces and perfect bodies. But is this really where beauty begins and ends? Buddhism offers a different perspective. According to the teachings of the Supreme Buddha, true beauty isn't just skin deep. It radiates from within, and it all starts with a simple practice: loving kindness. Imagine if instead of spending money on expensive treatments, we could transform our outer appearance through inner peace. Sounds unbelievable, right? But there's ancient wisdom that backs this idea. The Buddha himself revealed that practicing kindness could actually improve not only our mood, but our physical appearance as well. This is no mere myth. There's a deeper connection between our thoughts and the way we look, and I'm excited to explore that connection with you today. Most people focus only on skin-deep beauty. That's understandable. After all, we are visual creatures. But think about it. How long does outer beauty last? 50 years, maybe 60 if we're lucky. Time has its way with all of us. Wrinkles, gray hair, and other signs of aging are inevitable. But what if there's a form of beauty that defies time? The Supreme Buddha identified 2 types of beauty. The first, and most commonly pursued, is physical beauty. This is what most of us chase. But the second is much more enduring. It's the beauty of the heart. Inner beauty, cultivated through kindness, lasts longer than any cream or surgery could promise. Even better, it's free. We've all met people who may not be considered conventionally attractive, yet they have a certain glow about them. Their faces light up when they smile, and their kindness radiates from their eyes. This is the result of cultivating loving kindness. It's a form of beauty that transcends age, race, and cultural ideals. Consider a time when you've been extremely stressed or anxious. Didn't it show on your face? Maybe your skin broke out, or you noticed dark circles under your eyes. Our thoughts have a significant impact on our outer appearance. When we harbor negative emotions, anger, jealousy, or hatred, it manifests physically. On the other hand, when we cultivate kindness and peace, it reflects positively. For example, there's a well-documented phenomenon where people who meditate regularly, especially on loving kindness, often exhibit healthier, more vibrant skin. This isn't just some mystical concept. It's backed by science. Loving kindness meditation lowers cortisol, the stress hormone that can wreak havoc on our skin and overall appearance. By reducing stress and increasing positive emotions, we can create a healthier, more attractive version of ourselves. Here's a real-world example. Think of someone who constantly carries a scowl on their face. Over time, their facial muscles adapt to this negativity, and their expressions reflect it. Contrast this with someone who practices kindness daily, someone who smiles often and expresses joy. Their facial muscles naturally soften, making them more approachable and, in many cases, more attractive. So, how exactly does one practice loving kindness, and how can it lead to a more beautiful life? The beauty secret revealed by the Buddha is not found in any external product. It lies within the mind. It begins with developing a mindset of love and kindness toward oneself and others. The practice of loving-kindness meditation involves sitting quietly and focusing on generating feelings of compassion and goodwill. It starts with yourself. May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be free from suffering. Gradually, you expand this circle of kindness to include loved ones, acquaintances, and even those you might consider enemies. This practice works wonders not only for your mental health, but also for your appearance. As your heart becomes more peaceful, your face reflects this inner state. There's an unmistakable softness that comes with inner peace, a radiance that no amount of money can buy. The science behind loving kindness and beauty research shows that loving kindness meditation doesn't just change your mind, it changes your body. Studies conducted at various universities have found that people who regularly engage in this practice experience lower levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. This reduced stress leads to lower cortisol levels, which can positively affect skin health, weight, and even immune function. For example, a study published in the journal Psychoneuroendocrinology demonstrated that individuals who practiced loving-kindness meditation for 8 weeks showed a significant reduction in the biological markers of aging. This was compared to a control group that did not practice meditation, whose stress levels and signs of aging remained unchanged. If you're seeking that elusive fountain of youth, perhaps the answer isn't in a jar of cream, but rather in your ability to nurture positive thoughts and emotions. Real beauty is a reflection of inner peace. One of the most remarkable transformations I've seen comes from a close friend of mine who struggled with low self-esteem and body image issues for years. She spent a fortune on skincare products, makeup, and treatments, yet she was never satisfied with how she looked. Then, she discovered the practice of loving-kindness meditation. Over time, as she practiced this meditation daily, something magical happened. She began to look different. It wasn't that her skin changed overnight, but her attitude did. She smiled more, carried herself with more confidence, and her facial expressions softened. Her friends began commenting on how radiant she looked, and people at work started asking her what skincare routine she was using. The truth was, it wasn't a product that had transformed her. It was her mind. Summary lesson: cultivate inner peace to reflect outer beauty. The takeaway here is simple yet profound. Real beauty comes from within. While it's perfectly fine to take care of your skin and appearance, remember that these things are temporary. The practice of loving kindness, however, has the power to create lasting beauty that transcends age and outward appearance. In a world obsessed with physical perfection, the Buddha's teachings remind us that true beauty is a reflection of inner peace. By cultivating kindness, we not only improve our emotional well-being, but also radiate a glow that no product can replicate. So, next time you look in the mirror, ask yourself, am I nurturing the beauty of my heart as well as my skin? Final thoughts: a timeless beauty secret. As you go about your daily life, remember the simple yet powerful secret that the Buddha shared. Beauty is born from kindness. Whether you're stressed, overwhelmed, or simply searching for a way to enhance your appearance, start with your heart. Practice loving kindness, and watch as it transforms not just your mind, but your entire being. True beauty isn't found in the latest trend or product. It's found in your ability to love and be kind. Let this ancient wisdom guide you toward a more beautiful peaceful and fulfilling life. Namo Buddhaya. Imagine living a life where no matter how good or well-intentioned your actions are, people still find reasons to criticize you. Sounds familiar, right? Whether you're a high achiever, a kind-hearted person, or someone who's simply doing their best, criticism is inevitable. So, what should we do when people criticize us? How can we stay strong and not let their words bring us down? Stick around, because today we'll explore the profound Buddhist wisdom that teaches us how to navigate criticism with grace and peace. Buddhism teaches us that criticism is an unavoidable part of life. Whether you're doing something positive or groundbreaking, there will always be someone who disapproves. The Buddha himself encountered criticism throughout his journey. This is because people perceive things through their personal biases, sometimes leading them to misunderstand or even feel envious of your actions. We all want to be liked and accepted, but the truth is, no matter how noble our intentions, not everyone will understand or appreciate what we do. Criticism often says more about the critic than the person being criticized. People's comments are filtered through their own experiences, beliefs, and insecurities. That's why one of the first steps to dealing with criticism is understanding that it's not always a reflection of who you are, but of how the critic sees the world. In Buddhism, criticism can generally be divided into two types: constructive and negative. Constructive criticism comes from a place of care. These people genuinely want to see you grow and succeed. They might point out flaws or areas for improvement to help you become better. On the other hand, negative criticism often stems from misunderstanding, jealousy, or resentment. These critics seek to tear you down rather than build you up. It's crucial to differentiate between these two types of criticism. If someone offers feedback with love and sincerity, we should be open to it. However, if the criticism is toxic and baseless, rooted in envy or personal agendas, we need to protect ourselves from absorbing those negative energies. This brings to mind the old saying, "Not every opinion deserves your attention." Ask yourself, what is the intent behind the criticism? Is it to help you improve, or is it to make the critic feel better about themselves? Once you can discern this, your reactions become much clearer and more controlled. A famous Buddhist story illustrates how, no matter what you do, criticism is inevitable. During Buddha's time, a group of people visited a monastery and encountered 3 monks. The first monk was very silent and reserved, offering few words of wisdom. The visitors criticized him, saying he didn't know anything. They then went to the second monk, who spoke in complex, profound terms. They couldn't understand him and criticized him for making things too complicated. Finally, they met the third monk, who spoke in simple, easily understood terms. Yet, they criticized him for being too simplistic. This story highlights an important truth. No matter what you do, some people will find fault. The 3 monks, each with different teaching styles, were all criticized for opposite reasons. This is a powerful reminder that you cannot please everyone. Whether you're too quiet, too profound, or too simple, there will always be someone who disagrees with your approach. The key lesson here is not to take these criticisms personally. It's impossible to mold yourself into something that satisfies every single person's expectations. monks were perplexed and sought the advice of the Buddha. The Buddha taught them that whether you remain silent, speak profound truths, or keep things simple, you will always be criticized. This is the nature of the world. No one in history has escaped criticism entirely. Therefore, the Buddha encouraged the monks to focus on their inner peace and continue doing good, regardless of the criticism they received. What the Buddha teaches here is timeless wisdom. Criticism is not something we can control, but we can control how we react to it. When you know that you're doing something beneficial for yourself and others, keep going. Don't let the fear of what others might say paralyze you. There's great power in trusting your path and intentions. This lesson has profound applications in today's world, where criticism, especially online, is rampant. With social media, it's easy to be bombarded with opinions from strangers, but their words should not dictate our self-worth or direction. In today's digital world, criticism is often amplified. Let's take an example of a content creator who posts their work on social media. For every positive comment, there might be a negative one, questioning the quality, the intent, or even the creator's character. In such cases, the Buddhist approach becomes even more valuable. By accepting that criticism is inevitable and separating constructive feedback from baseless negativity, the content creator can maintain their peace of mind and focus on creating without constantly seeking approval. When social media influencers, for instance, receive harsh feedback, it's important for them to remember this story of the three monks. Not everyone will resonate with what they create, and that's okay. The lesson here is to remain grounded in your purpose and not let the noise of the outside world deter your inner journey. How to apply this lesson in real life. When faced with criticism, ask yourself, is this constructive? Can I learn something from it? Does it align with my goals and values? If the answer is yes, use that criticism as a stepping stone for growth. If not, let it go. Don't allow it to pull you into a spiral of self-doubt. People will always have opinions, but their opinions are not your truth. The core lesson in this video is that criticism is inevitable, and we should not let it dictate our actions. If we are doing something good for ourselves and others, we must keep going, regardless of what others say. The beauty of this teaching lies in its simplicity. It frees us from the endless cycle of seeking validation from others. When you understand that criticism is a natural part of life, you can face it without fear or anxiety. Whether you're criticized for being too quiet, too profound, or too simple, remember the monks and their story. Continue on your path with confidence and compassion, knowing that the world will always have something to say, but your peace comes from within. Namo Buddhaya.